So I'm going to give you a brief background of why we're having KOM. So KOM started as an in-house initiative for us at Log 10 Media. And we would usually just come together to discuss different brands, their marketing ideas, the marketing efforts, different campaigns, and how we think individually, how we think that, those campaigns did and what we could learn from them insights. So those conversations are usually so exciting, very interesting and impactful. And so we thought to ourselves, we shouldn't keep this to ourselves. It's too good to just be for us alone. And that's why we're sharing it with you. So yeah, that's like a brief background of why we always have our KOM sessions. So today's own is not going to be different. It's even going to be better because we have two seasoned professionals, who are going to be sharing their ideas with us. They're going to be sharing with us from their own, knowledge base. And I'm very sure that we're all here, to learn and to have a good time. So I'm certain that this is not going to be a time wasted. It's going to be a time well spent. So yeah, let's go. We have two of our guests and they're right here with us. So I'm just going to go right into it and introduce them. So I'll be starting first with Sheyi. Sheyi is a seasoned professional with nearly a decade of experience in business management, in sales and marketing, and he has successfully guided businesses across the Western region of Africa, generating over $7,000 $7 million, pardon me, in the last 4 years. That's a lot. So Sheyi is bringing his expertise today, and he's going to be answering our questions and giving us his own perspective into the topic that we're discussing today, which is what influencer marketing, right? Beyond likes and shares, measuring the real ROI of influencer marketing. We are also going to be having Paul Adeomi. Paul Adeomi is the founder of Viral Get. He was also a former senior digital strategist at All Seasons Zenith, and he has an extensive experience in influencer marketing, both from the side of managing multiple influencer campaigns and also, being a short span of being an influencer himself. So this is a well-packed time because he's bringing the perspective from both sides, being an influencer and being an influencer manager. So let's give it up for them in the comment section. We can also use our emojis, fire emojis, love emojis, smiling emojis, clapping emojis. Let's keep it coming, guys. Yeah, so let's get right into it. Today we're talking about influencer marketing, and we all know how influencer marketing has grown in the last few years, right? It's as serious as everybody now wants to make a career out of influencer marketing. So you can actually say, what do you do for a living? And someone will say, oh, I'm an influencer, right? And it's a legit thing to do. That's how serious it is. Brands pay millions and millions and millions of naira and dollars, in influencer marketing. So what we're doing today is to talk about it and to see what really is in influencer marketing. How much are companies getting from actually putting their monies, in influencer marketing or on the heads of influencers to help them carry their products and services on their head. So I'm going to be starting with Paul. Paul, can you introduce yourself to us, and while I throw the first question at you?
Okay, hi guys. Good. I think it's afternoon over there. It's currently morning over here. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, as Lucia said, founder of Viral Gates. Viral Gates is, I don't want to go into everything. I believe she has covered it, but yeah, I've been doing influencer marketing for a while now, and one thing that I enjoy the most is, sharing my experience and knowledge about the space, because I feel there's so much more that can be done in the influencer marketing space there. There's so much that we can achieve, especially as a continent, Africa. I feel we are still far behind the Western world when it comes to influencer marketing and execution. So it's always a pleasure to, share my thought process and knowledge with everyone.
All right, thank you very much, Paul. So before I throw the first question at you, I think I would also give Sheyi some time to introduce himself to us, and let's get to hear his voice because we're ready to receive from him today.
All right. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Man in Nigeria, you understand. What is enjoying himself in the abroad, right?
Okay.
I'm with
We'll get to
T-Pain,
that.
you understand, right? And nice to be here as well. Nice to also be here on the board with Paul. Myself and Paul, we've tried to do something together in the past. I'm not sure if
Oh.
he remembers, but if he doesn't remember, I will send him a WhatsApp message now. He'll remember. Yeah, yeah. So it's good to be here. Like I said, my name is Sherry, and I've been in sales and marketing environment for almost 10 years. Yeah, and
Oh,
I consult for businesses in the sales and marketing aspect. Currently, I'm consulting for a social platform called Bench. Um, yeah, that's what I can say about my work. And yeah, um, I just ended a contract with a company I was working with, Enyata. I think that's only bill
mm.
before, right? Yeah, so that's all about me for now. Thank you very much. I'm good to be
I'm going to be starting with you, Paul, right? So in this influencer marketing space, we hear different kinds of terms, different kinds of terminologies, right? We hear about micro influencers, we hear about nano influencers, we hear about upcoming influencers, you know. So what really are the different types of influencers that we have operating in the marketing space, and what is the difference? What also, like when can they be used? In which case do I need a nano influencer? In at what stage of my business do I need a micro influencer? So yeah, let's answer that first.
Okay, I get these questions from time to time because for brands sometimes it's difficult to understand who an influencer is in terms of picking, especially when it comes to wanting to pick a budget or assign a budget for a campaign. Like, okay, how do we split the budget? Who do we, pick? So to just break it down, there are actually 5 different tiers of influencers, right?
Okay.
It's the nano influencer, there is a micro influencer, there is mid-tier influencers, there is the macro influencers, and there is the mega influencers. So what really differentiates one from another is the number of their followings, right? For the nano influencers, you have guys between 1K followers to 10,000 followers. For micro, you have guys between 10,000 to 100K followers. Mid-tier influencer, you have from 100K followers to 500K followers. For the macro guys, you have 100K and 500K to 1 million. Then for the mega, you have 1 million and above. Now, the reason why these guys have been broken down into these different tiers is because of there are different impacts that they can make, right? As an influencer, of course, you don't expect the impacts a nano influencer would make to compare to that a mega influencer would make in terms of reach, because obviously they have the larger numbers, right? So those are like the 5 main tiers of influencers. And again, when it comes to picking out your budget or assigning your budget, you definitely know that a mega influencer is going to charge you more than a nano influencer, what is considered, right? In terms of when you can use whom, I think it all boils down to the objective of your campaign, right? And what you're trying to achieve. For the nano guys, because they have like a small audience, the expectation is that they are closer to their community and able to, speak to more people in terms of close-knitted community, because they're just like less than 10,000 compared to a mega influencer who has like 1 million followers. And the way the algorithm of social media platform works is that the higher your follower goes, the lower your engagement can get, because I think there is just about will I say 10 to 15% of in terms of percentage that you can reach as an influencer for the audience that you have. right? So if you are working with a nano influencer, maybe you want to speak to a community of people, right? You know that if you are picking a nano influencer who has like a very strong voice within that community, is able to like really reach and interact with those community because they are very small compared to working with somebody with 1 million followers. But say your campaign's objective is to be able to reach as many people as possible, right? Your choice of influencer would be people with 1 million and above or 500K and above, because that gives it like a larger reach compared to using somebody who has just 10,000 followers or just 100K followers, right? Same thing for engagement as well. If your campaign is driven towards engagement, it boils down to the industry as well. So I would give a typical example. An influencer who is in the entertainment space would most likely have an impact in terms of numbers, because entertainment is like a general thing that everybody can resonate with, right? So almost everybody would, be able to resonate with that influencer compared to, say, a finance industry now. A finance industry is, really close because it's everybody who is interested just in money, right? Or maybe a fitness influencer, right? So if a fitness influencer has 10,000 followers, for instance, and there's an entertainment influencer that has 1 million followers. If your target audience is to reach people who are in the fitness space, of course, you could work with the influencer with 1 million followers, but your impact might not be as great as working with an actual influencer who just has 10,000 followers, but is in the fitness space. So it comes down to different things, the objective, the industry. But ideally, what I recommend to businesses is that when you want to select any of these influencers, look at what you want to achieve, because an influencer with 1 million followers is going to charge you for the 1 million followers, regardless of if they have your audience, right? So you don't want to go and waste the money and work with somebody with 1 million followers when you should be working with somebody with 10,000 followers or like 100K followers. So always look at what you're looking to achieve, either reach objective, engagement, or conversion, whatever it is. So yeah, that's.
So, Shay, my question to you is this, right? Because of your wealth of experience, with business management, with sales, with marketing, I'm sure that you would have overseen a number of influencer marketing campaigns. So the question here now is, what are some of the things that you have noticed that goes wrong, or that businesses or business owners or founders or marketing managers, whoever is in charge, they do wrong whenever they want to go the route of influencer marketing, or maybe during an influencer marketing campaign? What are some of those things that you have noticed or that you have seen that they are doing wrong?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely, we can hear
All
you.
right. Okay. So, one of the things I've seen is that most times, the owner of the business try to influence who the influencer is because he or she likes the influencer, rather than listen to the marketing person that is in charge of that. I mean, the marketing person has the idea of what he or she wants to achieve. All right. And just like Paul rightly said, a lot of people don't consider things like this person, the person that the people that are following, where is um audience situated? Are they in talking people like business speed, right? And thing is, let me say this: a lot of business owners, CEOs like to make marketing managers perform magic with little budget. Like, yeah, they like to try and say how they can perform magic, and some people can perform magic, right? Some people have the so a lot of marketing managers have developed the skill to request for favors from connections like that, and because they keep doing that, the owners are thinking, oh, if you can do that with this amount of budget, you can always keep doing it, and it's not sustainable. Okay, so that budget is a big challenge because the business owner, by the time you hear what 1 million, 1 million followers want to charge you, you look at how much your own business, that not to charge that amount. But most importantly, I think that the problem that is prevalent is is around conversion. Is around conversion most times because you see the person that is running the influencer, the influencer just wants to collect money and do his job, no wahala. But the outcome is he or she is not obligated to convert for you. All right. So the problem most people have is that, oh, you did an influencer marketing campaign a few months ago and the conversion, was very low. Right. And that could be as a result of many things. It could be that it's a wrong influencer. It could be that the landing page or the call to action that they were using, was wrong. It could be many, many, many things, of which for me, what I've seen is that the way I like to lead influencer marketing is I don't just focus on you have 500,000 followers. I'll give an example. If a friend of mine ran an influencing gig for a very popular um, financial institution, all right. Now, he's on Facebook. He had about 25,000 followers on Facebook, but he got more results for them than influencers that had about 500,000 followers on Instagram, which also led to renewing and all of those stuff, even trying to make it. Now, so um, I like to see influencing not just as someone that has 10,000 followers. So, for example, besides mention that you have 1,000 followers, maybe on Facebook or something. I mean, if out of that 1,000 followers, I see that you have good engagement on that 1,000. I see that from that 1,000, maybe you give an advice on your platform and you are getting over 1,000, over 700 views on that advice that you posted on, and you have 1,000 followers. I mean, to you, for me, you might not say yourself an influencer. I say an influencer, and that's one of the things I've used to save cost when it comes to influencing market most times. I look out for people that they don't know they are influencers. They don't call themselves influencers, but they have influence. They have influence, and their influence is very strong on their community. Any community I'm talking about, it could be on Twitter, it could be on Instagram, it could be on, they don't know the influencers. And for that, it even helps me achieve the result. And I'm not going to pay them like an influencer because most of the influencers, their amount is inflated. Yeah, I would say. But these guys, I can tell you, for now, I want you to make a post for me every day for the next 5 days. I'll give you 100K. No problem. I mean, that's not how they're making money. They don't see themselves as influencers. But you're not doing that for an influencer. Now, every day for 5 days, it's like 1 million naira. So, I mean, that's what I can say about that. Like, I don't know what I can say about that.
Yeah, okay. I think I just want to chip in one extra thing. One of the things, I mean, from the years of running influencer campaigns and interacting with both business and influencers, one thing that I've seen that most business do wrong over and over and over again is the fact that they try to kill multiple birds with one stone, right? I understand that most of them might say, oh, because influencers are expensive, so they want to try to achieve all their objectives with just one influencer that they're working with. So you would see a brand approach you and tell you they want to work with a particular influencer, and you would ask, okay, what's your objective? And they will tell you, oh, reach, that we just want to reach as many people as possible, which is fine. Then when it comes to the execution, the next thing you're hearing is, oh, we also want to, be able to engage as many people as possible. Or we also want people to call in for our products and inquiry about what we do, our services, right? And the way it works is that when an influencer is creating content similar to every other social media platform or ad platform, programmatic, Meta, Twitter, the likes, right? When you're setting up your campaign to optimize for a particular objective, remember. So that objective could be reach impressions, could be engagement, could be traffic, whatever it is, but you're never setting up a campaign for multiple objectives. But you see brands come and feel, I mean, because as influencers is a different thing. So I can work with one particular influencer and I can tell the influencer to get reach for me. I can tell the influencers to get engagement for me. I can tell the influencers to drive traffic to my website. So you're trying to achieve as much as you can with just one influencer. And when it comes to the execution, the influencer is probably focusing on just one thing, because you can't focus on multiple things at the same time. If they are creating their content, they're probably creating it in a way that, if it's to drive reach, would be able to go viral, or if it's to drive engagement, they'll be able to drive talkability about the brand and whatnot. So that's one common thing I see brands do wrong a lot of the time. And I understand the fact that they probably feel like, oh, this influencer is very expensive. So if I'm going to be using him, I must, squeeze out everything that I can get from that influencer. But I think you notice that when the result for the campaign comes out, even your main objective, you're not able to achieve it, because you are shooting and spray, you are squeezing out, or what's the word now? You are doing so much. It's like you are leaning out what you're supposed to do. So the influencer is now trying to focus on this, focus on that, focus on this. Before you know what's happening, I mean, your result is just down. So it would be nice. That's why there is the different tiers of influencers, right? And those different tiers of influencers comes with different costs. If you know that a particular influencer is too expensive for you, you could go for a lesser tier influencer while still focusing on the objective. So most brands should, just try to focus on just one thing. Don't try to do as many things with one influencer as possible. So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul. I like what you said. This is because sometimes it's important to realize that even though this is influencer marketing, you should treat it as you would treat any other campaign that you are running, so that you can get the best result from it, right? So not just because they're expensive. So let us dump all of our marketing goals on them and expect them to make an ad to achieve it, but then you cannot blame founders. These guys are
I understand.
we've seen some of their rate cards, and we know that they are doing the most.
We'll still come to
So
that.
don't
We'll still
blame our
come to
founders.
that.
Okay, so my next question for you, Paul, and this question I feel like is the most important, because it's why we're gathered here today, right? We understand how, social media is, and it is run by numbers, right? So it's easy to say that, okay, because as an influencer, I have done this campaign and I have the numbers, I have people, it has gone wild, it has gone viral, right? It's safe to say that, yes, I've done my job. Thank you. See you next time. But what really is the ROI of influencer marketing, and how do you manage it? What are the strategies that we really want to, put in place to ensure that we are getting value for our money? Because it's not just, oh, somebody made, okay, we want to make an ad, we reach out to an influencer, he makes a video, he posts it, we laugh about it, or we like it and we share it, or it appeals to our emotions, right? What really is the ROI like, and how do we manage it?
Okay, I think that's a very crucial question, and one that I believe, compared to every other paid media advertising model, seems to still be tricky, especially in this our industry, where we seem to still be behind the Western worlds. For me personally, what would be your ROI is basically your objective. So one thing I tell to brands most of the time is, before you set out on any campaign, you need to first of all define what your expected KPI is, right? So it is based on your KPI that you'll be able to decide what the ROI is, because then you can always, look backward or look forward and say, okay, we had set this out to be our KPI, right? At the end of working with this influencer, did we get that? So it could be that you want to drive traffic to your landing page, right? You would look back and say, okay, ROI for us, return on investment, because you're basically spending on the influencer, right? So what's your expected return is that I'm giving you this money to use your influence, to speak to your audience, to go to my websites, right? if every other thing is achieved and that is not achieved, personally, I feel like then your campaign wasn't a success because that was your main goal, that was your main objective. But having said this, there's also one thing I would like to point out is, I mean, from experience, one thing that I've noticed is one thing for brands to set out their KPI and be saying that is what they want to track results on. But you said that a lot of brands still then get to influence the execution of these campaigns. So for instance, now you said that you want to drive traffic to your website, and that is why you want to work with a particular influencer. The influencer probably understands their audience better than you do, and they feel like, okay, if I should do it this way, that is what will be able to drive traffic to the website. But because you as the brand manager or you as the business owner, you already have a fixed way of how influencers operate, and you believe that the only way influencers can operate is for them to just create like a very funny content for my brand, and that to be able to drive traffic. If the influencer comes back and say, oh no, I'm not creating something funny, I'm going to create a video where I'm probably very serious and I'm talking to people like, guys, go visit this website because I know that is what is going to drive traffic for you, right? You'll see a lot of brands will still push back and say, oh no, I don't want that. I mean, you guys should just, it has to be funny, it has to be relatable, it has to be exciting. But the influencer is telling you like, it will be exciting, but it's not going to achieve our KPI. I'm like, no, we have to find a way to achieve our KPI. So there needs to be that balance between saying you want to achieve your KPI as well as, giving the, I mean, whether the strategy is or during execution, the liberty for them to be able to optimize in a way that would help you to achieve your KPI. Without that, I mean, you'd get every other metrics, you'd get reach, you'd get engagement and all those things, but your actual KPI, you're going to fail on it, right? So, except that, secondly, I would probably say in terms of how you manage it, right, is being open-minded as a brand owner, right? It could be that the way to achieve your KPI, I mean, it might not be traffic, it could be something else, it could be an unconventional way that you probably are not used to, right? But because you want a very conventional way, expect that it has to be this way, it has to be this approach, right? And it becomes a problem because influencers, from working with them, I know most of these guys, they'll just say, no, well, actually, that's what you want now. I will do it this way. Then they do it that way. They do it that way. Then you now come back and say, oh, we've not achieved our KPI. And they'll come to you like, yeah, don't that say we should make it entertaining now. We've done that. I mean, for us, that's the KPI you are giving us because you can say we want to drive traffic, but your last brief or your last interaction with them in terms of execution is what they would go with. So if you send a brief and say, oh, in the brief, objective, traffic to websites, then you guys are having like a brainstorming section and you're telling them, oh no, we want it to be entertaining. It has to be very entertaining. They're like, okay, no, wahala. They'll make it entertaining, right? So I think brands should, in terms of managing your ROI, they should be more flexible. They should be more open to, even unconventional ways, because you've seen it even in Western worlds. You've seen where one of the ways they try to use influencer is even integrations, right? Not your typical way of just having influencers create content for you. It could be something very unconventional, like maybe just make an appearance somewhere, or maybe just, integrate it into something that they are already doing, their daily lifestyle, right? So that's what I would say. But I mean, to just summarize, first of all, you need to define what your KPI is from the beginning for you to know what would decide your ROI at the end of the campaign. And in terms of managing it, brands should be open, should be more flexible to working with influencers.
Shay, I would also like you to, speak to this question of measuring ROI of influencer campaigns beyond likes and shares.
Okay, just to add to what I've said, it's important that yes, you spell out that and don't overload what your campaign with so many things. I I like to be the unconventional route most times. So for example, let's say the ROI, what you're trying to do is, oh, you just want to be known, all right? Let people know, let want to make noise. I would prefer you work with a lot of say, um a lot of micro influencers than looking for only 1 million followers. All right, so for example, from 1 million followers can start this say 10 million naira, but the micro influencer can start this say 500 to 1 million naira. So the idea is that you need to, whoever is in charge, be it the CEO or the marketing person, should always see or basically marketing and psychology go hand in hand.
Yes.
Marketing and psychology go hand in hand. So I need to put a perception to people out there. If I have, can we mention name of influencers as example of something? Can we?
Go ahead now.
All right. So
Your
if
manager
I have
is here.
I want to think that a Dr. Chris with a 5 million people on Instagram is a mega influencer, right? Instead of giving him the money to just do something for me, I will work with people with 300 to 500,000 or 200,000 followers, all right? Because people, the more people that you are talking about, the more people perceive to be big. So remember that the goal is that we want to announce ourselves, all right? Not necessarily, we just want people to know about us and check us and maybe download our app or something, all right? Okay, that big like that. So instead of working with that one person, I will break it down to, you know, a lot of guys like that. Yes, people have attachment to. So, for example, even though that's another thing. Another thing is that sometimes some influencer marketing campaign they click, and they click, it, it's successful, but that they could have done it in a better way. All right. Uh-huh. So I love the last one that people put in drive. You know, they use Disney, use uh like wasabi, you know, and there was this thing now, oh, get if you write, if you pick your right or something like that, you most likely get your favorite influencers around, that will pick you and I will drop you, you know. Yeah. Why they might have been successful using Disney and live wasabi to make that social media campaign, they could have worked with some other smaller influencers down there, like for me people down there, down the one I'm talking about, you know, to to do the
We
picking
do.
up, yeah, to do the picking up and all of that stuff. For example, I know that for featuring and live started picking people up, the least you pay to be say 2 million naira. I think I saw the rate cap something like that for anything that picking, guys up. But if you had worked with four micro influencers, that people know very much well, you will seem big. It will look like, oh, you are doing a lot. All right, because from this influencer, they see this influencer works with InDrive to do this. This influencer works with InDrive to do this. Other influencer does all of that stuff. So that's that's what I can say for that. So it's important that we define and we also work in hand with psychology. I for one went to do self-study of psychology for 1 year, just so that I can have an idea of how, especially the most powerful thing about marketing is perception branding. It's perception branding. It's so powerful that there's this ideology that even for human beings as individuals, say, I don't care what people think about me. No, you need to care. You need to be able to, you need to know it enough to dictate what people think about you. That's what dictate what they think about you. So as businesses as well, you need to be at the forefront of dictating. Yes, for lack of a better word, you can call it manipulation, right?
Yeah.
Dictating what people think about you, looking bigger than you are. An example is a one-man business with typing an email and saying we, you know, yeah, I'm telling you, when I started my consulting, that's why I do that. Whenever there was, a meeting where good thing I'm going to discuss, like money and all of those stuff, I'll be in forefront. My email, my signature will be my name. But when there's a conflict resolution, you know, at that time, I had a very good friend, who's my wife now. When the email is being sent, I'm the one that is typing the email, but it's a name that will be in the signature. Yeah. So it's perception. So the idea is that as long as the client is seeing me, I'm the good guy that have good conversations, but when there's a problem, she's the bad person. even though it's still a one-man business. So perception, see, psychology is very strong when you're looking at marketing and influencer marketing. So you need to use that and marry that together with influencer marketing. I'm sure any marketing manager listening to be able to tap into that to get a very powerful result.
So my question to you now is, what are the factors that these businesses should consider when choosing an influencer? We have already highlighted the types of influencers that we have, the different cadres of influencers that we have. So what are the factors that businesses should actually consider when looking out for influencer marketing?
Okay, so first, yeah, I would say that the businesses number one on my list is trust their marketing managers or their brand managers. Because we are the one that is in this space interfacing with a lot of these guys. I know if they look, I know it's not, you know, we we have gists and we used to have we have a lot of WhatsApp group or community where we dey drop gist for ourselves, normal, steady. So, first the business unit is trust the marketing or the brand manager or the communication manager. Um, yeah. To say okay, even if there's an orga, for example, the orga to present his own or our own um preference as a suggestion. What do you think? Can we work with this? Take this person and do your analysis. I like the open. I like this guy. But as far as business is concerned, is what to benefit the business I'm after. So even though I like this guy, yeah, let me know whether we can work with him or do you have options that we see that we can work with better. That's one. Two, um, it's okay for businesses to work within their budget. All right. The influencers, people are paying those influencers what they're asking for. That's why they put that number like that. So if you cannot pay them, like you've always been saying on this call, work within your budget, right? And additionally, I mean, for me, what this has worked for me is if a marketing person here, look out for these people that have influence, but they don't see themselves as influencers. They have influence, but they don't see themselves as influencers. You can do something like this, for example. So, for example, um, you can maybe make a post for you. They have you can do a partnership with them. They have you are bringing them on your platform, come and speak this and that. You know, look out for those people. All right, you spend less and you most likely achieve more than those guys. Sorry, I'm saying this because I learned it in a very hard way in guerrilla marketing. Okay, in the sense that I work a lot of stuff, and when working started into the problem, so you need to now to grind out results, it leads to a no fun. Okay, so another thing I would say that businesses should look out for is the what the influencer represents. What the influencer represents. Um, even it's not just by, by the numbers. People buy numbers. I know I know people that I've worked with people that I've never worked with people. I've wanted to work. I wanted to work with someone that they said that is an influencer. And when I checked him on Instagram, it was even the organ I even suggested guy. And I said, guy, you practice can hardly hear me. Can you hear me, Desire?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I don't know why he can hardly hear me. But let me just round up with this. I was saying that
Okay,
some of
I
these
think
guys buy
you're louder
influencers.
now.
They buy followers. Okay, some of these guys they buy followers. So you need to be able to there are ways to detect. Now the organ might not because yes, the guy might have experience in doing that and might be able to detect it on what is our followers or not. But at the same time, you want to say, okay, not just by looking at a quick trick for you to know these things. When you see the followers, the person has 30 something thousand followers maybe on Instagram, and you go and check the post, you are seeing 10 likes, 15 likes. And now we look at on Reels, you can check number of views who have seen that reel. So you're having 30 something thousand followers, but you're really showing 300. 400. There are a lot of them out there. I can tell you. If I start calling names, you'll be shocked. There are a lot of them out there. That's on the basic level of those that I would say that the business should look out for. That, I mean, they are scammers. I don't use that word scammers. They're not really influencers. So yeah. So the last thing I would say is I'm repeating what I said of what the influencer stands for, the value of the influencer. Right. If you want your business to be associated with that value system, that's what you want to look at for. If their influencer, for example, now someone asked me on how he wanted to do use Net Nigeria. I don't know if you know Net Nigeria. You know Net Nigeria, they bring out films that maybe on Netflix and they put on their platform like Telegram and the like. And they wanted to advertise their stuff using partnership with Net Nigeria. And what I told him was, do you want your business to be with Net Nigeria, knowing fully well that this thing that Net Nigeria is doing is not good? They have the numbers quite all right. Right. On their Telegram page, if you post on a Telegram page, if one post, you can get up to 10,000 views on that on that post. Right. But if I am on that their Telegram channel and I see your company, I'll take it as one that is not serious. So all of these things have effect on picking kind of influencer you work with, and I'll definitely thank you.
So we have a question in the comments, but before we get to it, I want to ask Paul a question. And I'm smiling because it seems like I'm going to put Paul on the spot. So are you ready for my question, Paul? Thank you. So what is that remarkable influencer marketing campaign? Like the one where you selected an influencer, it was a perfect choice and it prompted people, maybe, I don't know what the goal would have been, but let's just say that campaign, like the Gen Zs will say, the campaign ate. So what is that campaign? Can you share it with us?
Okay, before I share that, while Shay was speaking, something just came to my mind about the previous question that you asked. So I just want to what you have said in terms of what's the question again? I'm trying to remember the question.
What to look out for when choosing an influencer? Is that the question?
Yeah. One thing I would advise to brands is to make use of the marketing funnel, right? Which starts from the awareness to the middle phase to the bottom of the funnel. Looking at that marketing funnel would give you an insight as to what stage your brand is at in terms of marketing. And that would also give you an insight as to the influencer that fits into which of the stages or which of the phases your brand is at. Because you would not want to use, if your brand is basically new, right? You would not want to use an influencer who is known for conversion to use that influencer at the awareness stage, because what you want first of all build is awareness and top of the mind for people to even come in contact with your brand, basically introducing your brand to people before you start talking about conversion. Likewise, a brand who is currently maybe in the middle phase, which is like the consideration phase, you would not want to use an influencer who would probably just focus on driving awareness for you. So in terms of selecting your influencer, look at the marketing channel charts, look at the phase where your brand is at and see which influencer fits into each of those phases. That way you can know that, okay, what you can even go as far as doing is make a list of influencers that you probably want to work with, or influencers that right? And fit them into each of those channels based on like maybe previous history with working with them or previous performance, and say, okay, this influencer, we've done an insight or research into this influencer, and we know that the influencer is strong for awareness, fits that influencer under the awareness phase. Look at another influencer and say, okay, this influencer, I mean, this particular person has worked with him for conversion and they've been able to drive this conversion. I mean, you might probably need the help of like maybe third-party tool to get like data inside about these influencers. But it's best for you to take that approach first of all, because knowing that when you're working with the influencer, you can know that, okay, you've already seen past performance from this influencer, right? You've already gotten insight about this influencer before, so you know that this influencer fits into this particular stage. And going back to your question now, so I would first of all, I would talk about a campaign that I liked that was not executed by us that I really liked. Then I would talk about a campaign that we had executed that really stood out for us. So I'm sure anybody who watches football has seen the Ronaldo Messi chessboard stuff that was done for Louis Vuitton. I don't know, has anybody come across that before? If you watch football, definitely you must have come across it, right? That was a campaign that stood out strongly for me. And the reason being that it was very simple, right? And it goes back to what I had spoken about in terms of brands having the flexibility when it comes to working with influencers and not just sticking to the conventional way. I mean, imagine a similar brand like Louis Vuitton in Nigeria and they want to work with an influencer to put out their bag. What they probably would have told the influencer is, you know what, go and make a video for us about how you are carrying her bag and you're going out with her bag, or you are going to the airport with her bag, something like that. Yeah. But what Louis Vuitton did is to find a way to bring two of the most popular people, two of the most influential people in football as of the time and even as of now, right? Just have them take a picture together with our brand. And everybody knows, anyone who watches football knows like the strong rivalry that, is between the both of them. So seeing both of them together in a picture, right? It blew the whole internet that particular night. And it was crazy because everybody didn't see these guys working together. But the brand had thought outside of the box of other unconventional ways they could, drive virality for their products, which is just bringing together the two most rival people in football and having them stay together for a photo shoot. And it got people talking, it got people sharing it. I mean, I really can't say what their objective was, but my objective would be, I would assume it was to drive virality, right? If that was their main objective, they hit it and over exceed it because it was literally everywhere for like the next 24 hours, right? Both locally, globally, everybody was talking about it and everybody was resharing. So, I mean, just imagine the number of impressions they would have generated, the number of talkability they would have generated from just that campaign alone, right? So it still goes back to, as a brand, be flexible, be open, be unconventional, think outside the box. Don't just think to one fixed way of, okay, this is the only way we have to work with influencers. Then bringing it back home in terms of a campaign that we had executed. So there was this particular brand, I wouldn't mention the name, but it was during COVID. It was an alcoholic brand, right? They wanted to launch like a new variant of their products into the markets of the alcoholic products into the market. They already had all these PR plans. They were going to have activations. They were going to have like physical launch. They were going to have events and all those things. Then COVID came. And I mean, with COVID, there was lockdown. Everybody had to be indoors. So all the plans of having physical activation, events, everything down the drain. There was nothing they could do about physical launch again. So they thought like, okay, what's the next best thing we could do aside from just running paid ads? And they came to me, they wanted like, okay, we want to use influencers to actually launch our products. And one of our key objectives is to drive trial for the products, right? Because one of the objectives for them having like their physical launch and activations was to drive trial of the product. Because if you come in physically, you'll be able to test the product and try it out. So like, oh, that was what we wanted to do, but we couldn't do it anymore because of COVID and lockdown. So now we want to try to use influencers to drive trial of the products. Now it's not just about visibility and talking about our product, like, oh, the product has launched. That was not our objective. The objective was actually get people to try the product itself, to make use of the product. So we came together, did a little brainstorming and what is one thing that would drive people to actually be, go as far as trying the product itself, because you could work with influencers now. I mean, you would see the influencers using the product and talking about it, but it necessarily doesn't drive you to that final action of, okay, you're using it. Oh, okay, I'm aware. I mean, this brand has launched a new variant soon. That's all, but it doesn't take you to the final step that we want. So we brainstormed and decided to come up with like a challenge sort of, right? We gave it a name, we gave it a tag, and the whole idea was to have people, to make people a part of the campaign. And Shay had mentioned something about marketing, which I totally agree with, which is psychology, right? When it comes to marketing, you need to also be able to think the way your audience are thinking, and you need to also be able to let them see themselves in your campaign. So you're not creating the campaign because it is the brand, you're creating the campaign because it is the audience. So you want to give them, you know, an experience that makes them feel like, okay, I'm a part of this brand, I'm a part of this campaign, I'm a part of this conversation that is ongoing. So we put together a challenge, which the challenge was going to be driven by this audience, right? And it was going to play on, leverage on, I mean, who was going to show the best creativity, because we knew at that point, people had so much time on their hands, right? Nobody was going to work, even if you're working from home. We knew working from home wasn't so, you know, tough like that because of the whole pandemic, and everybody was just trying to look for something to distract themselves and, you know, just get involved with other things. So we put together this challenge and we asked people to, you know, in their free time, just come together, mix up something, your own mix of a cocktail using the brand, right? But we went further as saying, now we want you to be very expressive and give it your own name. And because the brand, like from time to time, used to have like events where they serve cocktails with their brand as well. So there was the old incentive of, oh, who knows, we could pick your own cocktail and, you know, be serving it out to people and we'll name it after you, that kind of thing. So there was the old, oh, okay, I could have something named after me, right? While it makes them feel like a part of the brand, right? So we had influencers drive this, you know, influencers being the first point of contact for this challenge. Influencers did theirs, you know, encourage their audience to also do theirs, like, okay, go on, whatever mix. There is no limitation to saying, okay, you have to mix this way. Just, you know, do your own mix. And the end result was, so since we had people, you know, coming up with their own mix, being creative, being open to trying out new things, and people actually then trying out the product itself, because that's what people were using to make, you know, the cocktail mix and everything. So there was that objective of, you know, product trial that was achieved. Now, the one that really made the campaign stand out for us was the fact that as at that point, like the entire product in store as at then was sold out, right? And we saw influencers audience reaching out to them, sending them DMs like, oh guys, I've gone to this store and they said the product is out. Where can we get this product? Like, where can we get? And even the brands, I mean, they were blown like, okay, they didn't expect they were going to sell out that kind of number. I think it was a large number. Like they didn't expect they were going to sell that. They had even reduced their expectation because they felt like, okay, it was locked down, people might not be able to go out and all those things. So the brands, like, it was totally sold out in store, that they were even struggling to restock because, you know, there was movement issues as well. So restocking ASAP was like a problem for them because of, you know, limitation in movement. So that was one campaign that stood out for us. And looking back now at that campaign, right, what it just goes to show is that as a brand, what we have discussed about, you need to, from the onset, set out your KPI, because that is what is going to decide what ROI is for you. And in terms of the choice of influencers that we had used, people would have expected that for campaigns like this, you'd have probably chosen the bigger guys, like the guys with millions of followers, but we decided against that and chose guys who were closer to their audience, people who had, you know, had close connection to their audience, like they had part of their audience were even their friends, that even saw their friends too, and now jumping on the campaign as well, and, you know, being participants in it organically without even being interested in maybe whatever is going to be given, but because the influencer is their friends, right? And that was leveraging the close community that existed within them. So it goes back to say you don't always have to work with influencers who have million followers. You don't always have to say it has to be this fixed way. And I keep emphasizing on that because that's one mistake brands make a lot, right? What else again? Always decide your KPI from the onset, because that's what you'll be able to use to track. Yeah, so I think basically that's one campaign that stood out for us. I mean, among others, but that really resonates more.
All right, Paul, thank you so much. We have some questions, but we are running out of time. We have like 5 minutes left on this call. But I mean, it's been an insightful and impactful conversation. I think there's a comment here that I want to read out. It says, as a digital marketer, companies majorly use these influencers' online audiences to create products or services awareness, not necessarily to make sales immediately. To measure influencer marketing, one can measure their deliverables aside shares and likes with coupon codes, special link, funnel, and growth ROI. Yes, absolutely. Very good. So for these two questions, I don't know if we can quickly answer them in the next 5 minutes, because we like to keep to time as a company, so we do not want to exceed the time that we've told people. So this question here says, are there marketing goals that may perform better using other channels instead of influencers? And are there marketing goals that may perform better using influencers? Yeah, that's the question. So I don't know if this can be answered in like a minute or two.
Yeah, so there are marketing goals that can do better in comparison to if you had to do paid media compared to influencers. And an instance is reach, yeah, because for you to be able to reach as many people as possible using influencers, it means you have to use the mega influencers, people with 1 million followers and above. Now, here's the problem. You using those set of influencers, you are probably going to have to pay as high as 1 million, 2 million naira, right, to work with these influencers. If you take that 1 million, take that 2 million naira, use it to run paid ads, you are guaranteed to get more reach, more impressions than working directly with that influencer, right? So yeah, there are certain goals like that it would be rather, it would be best for you to just, do paid media than work with an influencer. But on the other hand, goals like if you are trying to build brand perception and trying to, leverage on creativity and resonate with your audience, you could take that 1 million and run paid ads and get the impressions that you want, but you are not able to build a brand perception, because one of the reasons why brands use influencers is getting that perception, building that, affinity with their audience, using somebody who is already in that space, right? Using like an authority figure. So you could run paid ads as much as you like, you would never be able to get that. But working with an influencer who already is an authority figure in that space, for instance, now you're working, you are in the fashion space, you want to do something in the fashion space, and you have a My Atafo that you can work with, right? I mean, it would be able to properly align your brand, puts you in like better light when it comes to the old fashion scenario compared to if you have to just run, paid ads like that. So yeah, there are different goals that works for different channels.
Can
Very
I
insightful.
get 2 minutes to just say a thing that I
Okay.
feel that I need just know it's 2 minutes. I'm rounding up.
All right, thanks.
Like I said, you need to partner in, all this marketing, not just influencer marketing, with psychology. Let me say that influencer marketing should not stand on its own. I always advise people to run impression campaigns so that as the influencer is talking about your product, you're also running a brand awareness campaign on your page, for people to just see, you. So, for example, now I might not follow your page, but because I've seen that Lai Wasabi mentioned it, and now see your ad, I'm like, oh, this was Lai Wasabi mentioned. Secondly, instead of in using psychology, you need to also like to think outside the box. I'll give an example. There was a particular campaign I wanted to run, and it was about it was for a beauty product. So we needed a major mall in Lagos to buy a huge chunk of that beauty product. But the thing was to work with an influencer. Now what we did was we had a meeting with the people and said, okay, just put 10. Don't worry, that was called on social. So they put 10 and they're like, okay, if after 2 weeks this thing doesn't sell out, we come and carry it. So you could see that perspective, how we worked with that ideology of working influencer. Instagram was not pushed on this our platform. All right. You can do collaborations like that and just learn to think outside of the box. So I just want to say that.
Thank you. Outside of the box is like the soul of marketing, because that's what would actually get people, talking about it, talking about your campaigns. So I want to say a big thank you. Thank you, Shay, and thank you, Paul, for sharing with us from your wealth of expertise and, your professional life, basically. And thank you for taking time out to educate us on influencer marketing. So this is the end of it.